Team Fortress 2 is a game filled with a ton of charm, personality, and a sense of humor that's kept players coming back for years now. From its iconic art style to its razor-sharp class design, every detail in this game has been crafted with a ton of passion. But what if someone took all of that and stripped it away? What if TF2's bright, cartoonish world was rebuilt as something broken, unfinished, and just flat out creepy? This is Beta Fortress, a TF2 fangame made by Grcka Boy that's supposed to be a lost beta version of Team Fortress 2, but is instead one of the most unique takes on a TF2 horror game. Booting the game's tutorial, things feel off right away. You spawn in this strange map with tons of missing textures and eerie models. The entire game is experienced through a camera recording a monitor, giving everything a grainy, unstable quality that sets the tone for what follows. The tutorial itself is fairly standard. You play as the sniper, and you learn how to move, how to shoot, and the basic mechanics. The only weapon you have in this game is the standard sniper rifle, which is pretty similar to the one in TF2. You can scope, shoot, and reload. But things then take an odd turn. By pressing E, you get a temporary X-ray, revealing an enemy behind a wall. The sniper has never had this power, making it feel instantly out of place. The enemy is a bloodied spy, and looking at him distorts your entire screen, returning to normal once you kill him. But once we reach the other side of the room, he sends us to the main menu. It's very obvious that something is wrong with this game, but what exactly? With no servers to join, we create one ourselves in the only map available, CTF_Trainhouse, and this is where the actual game begins. Joining the server, we get to choose our class, but none of them work. Trying to pick one will lead to an error. Shiba, not this one. The only exception is the sniper, which is the only playable class. Some characters don't even have renders, while others do, and also include some information.
Why can't he crouch? He fell out of the map last time I tried. I'm not touching that. The X-ray ability is extremely unbalanced. Pyro's flames are glitching out. Might be Coconut JPG again. Who keeps messing with Spy's code? Why does his bot have its own pathfinding and behavior written in a completely different language that I never seen before?
Spawning in, we are playing Capture the Flag. Our objective is to bring the enemy's intelligence to our base. But when we turn on our X-ray, we can notice someone watching over us. For now, he doesn't seem to do anything, and he's completely invisible when the X-ray is off. Going to the enemy spawn, we also see a scout, but we can't hurt him and he's completely motionless. You might have noticed that the server adds a single bot in the blue team once we joined, which explains the scout, but then who's the figure that's stalking us? After grabbing the intelligence and scoring a point, I went to check back on the person watching me, and he's gone. I tried looking around and there he was, just standing there. Nothing happens if I shoot or walk into him, but he's just following me. Once we go to grab the flag again, the scout is killed, leaving behind only a puddle of blood. The killer's name is complete gibberish, but it's not hard to believe that it's the person following us. Scoring another point will lead to... The whole map has now suddenly changed. It is now much darker and foggier than before, but something else has happened. We now know the person that's been stalking us. The spy. He's the first enemy we encounter in the game, and he works in two phases, a stalking phase and an attacking one. At first he stays invisible, but always makes his presence known, whether it's from randomly talking to you, or showing up next to you for a couple of frames to throw you off guard. Eventually, he'll try to attack you. The way you get rid of him is by simply shooting him, which resets the cycle. But just like in the tutorial, looking at him distorts your entire screen, making it hard to see. You know he's coming for you by the subtle stinger he plays. Scoring another point adds a little extra time to the clock, but once you capture the final flag, we move on to the next round. Besides the spy being much more aggressive, appearing more often and closing in quicker than before, there's another enemy you have to deal with. The scout. His mechanic is pretty simple. He only moves when you aren't looking, closing the gap every time your eyes are elsewhere. On his own, he's really not that much of a threat, but paired with the spy, he forces you to split your focus. One wrong glance and the scout could be right behind you. You've also probably noticed that our X-ray ability is now completely gone. In its place, the map now features developer commentary. If you've played the Source Engine game, you'll know that this is a commentary node, appearing when developer commentary is enabled and give insights about the game from the developers themselves. But why is one here? Interacting with it plays a choppy recording of Gabe Newell welcoming you to TF2.
Welcome to Team Fortress 2. After 9 years in development, hopefully it will have been worth the wait. Please let me know what you think after you have had a chance to play. I can be reached at gaben@valvesoftware.com, and my favorite class is the Spy. Thanks, and have fun.
There is also one in the enemy base, although this one is slightly stranger.
To accommodate the Scout class, maps need open spaces that allow Scouts to double jump along paths that the other classes can't navigate.
Scouts often use their speed advantage.
This audio is far more glitchier than the previous node, and it serves as a warning that the scout is now part of the game. Once we capture the last flag, things continue to get stranger on round 3. By now the pattern is clear. Every round makes the game more aggressive. The spy and scout are still here, only now they're even more hostile, forcing you to split your attention at all times. But they're not the only threats anymore. The Heavy. The Heavy doesn't behave like the others. Rather than chasing you around, he is always with you, either above or below the ground. And once he decides to attack, his face will grow larger and larger, and you have to shoot him to make him go away. But with the spy stalking you, the scout creeping up, and the heavy looming overhead, you're forced to juggle multiple enemies, each demanding attention in their own way, making the game pretty stressful as you try to complete your objective. I also haven't really talked about the timer and what happens once it ends. Well, the map gets engulfed in darkness, and soon after, this strange ambience starts playing, followed by an even stranger scene. The Heavy rushes in and sends us to the main menu. Round 4 doesn't introduce anything new, it simply makes every enemy harder to deal with. But once we capture the final flag...
Scan complete. Harmful files found.
That's it. No more rounds, no congrats screen, the game just ends. This ending feels less like you've actually beaten something, and more like the game itself has decided that you're done. That's what makes Beta Fortress so interesting to me. There are so many things happening that are just not explained. What's going on with this game? Why are these guys attacking me? And why do features appear and disappear without explanation? It gives the impression that you're playing something unstable, something that was never really meant to be played at all. And in a way, that's true. Beta Fortress didn't initially start out as Beta Fortress. The whole thing began as an original project called Grcka, or Lost Game Found. Everything was unique. The textures, models, and even the characters were all separate from Team Fortress 2. But despite the original designs, the cast behaved more or less the same as their Beta Fortress counterparts. The sniper was a class called Troika, who had a crouching mechanic, something completely absent in the final product. The scout was named Jetstream, who's my personal favorite, he just looks cool. The spy was a strange figure called Remove, who didn't just pop in and out of existence, and will slowly manifest until he's struck. The Heavy wasn't even a character, but rather Remove's floating mask. And there's also an enemy I haven't really mentioned, the Pyro. His sole purpose was to stalk you and would disappear once you notice him. In Grcka, he was just a simple shadow figure, which made him look much more creepier. Train House and the tutorial haven't really changed. They were just reskinned with new textures and models for Beta Fortress. What makes Grcka interesting is that it actually had some sort of story. You can get information from these small notes in the right of the screen. You are a playtester that's playing this lost game, and you had to keep playing it so your computer can scan any harmful files, which makes Beta Fortress's ending make a lot more sense. The developer decided to scrap Grcka and rebuild it as a TF2 project, in the hopes that it would reach a wider audience. And if you look in Beta Fortress's files, you can still find Grcka assets till this day. To summarize this video up, Beta Fortress is a game that isn't about story or traditional lore, but about atmosphere, tension, and the creeping feeling that you're playing something unstable, something that probably shouldn't exist. If I had one critique to give, is that the gameplay is a bit repetitive. Most of it boils down to moving from one spot to another for about 5 minutes, but if you're looking to get spooked tonight, then this game will surely do the trick. I hope I covered everything in this video, but if I missed something, let me know in the comments. Anyway, if you ever find yourself booting up a forgotten version of TF2, just remember, it's watching you too. Like and subscribe, join the server, give me money, and bye!